Lebanon was once called the water tower of the Middle East. But now, in the midst of an economic crisis, decades of corruption, mismanagement, and climate change, the country is now one of the most water-stressed places in the world.
يعني احتمال تقريبا يومين بالأسبوع نقطع من المي.
Any other hit, the system cannot sustain it.
About a quarter of the world's population live under extremely high water stress, mostly in the Middle East and North Africa. And by 2050, that number could grow by 1 billion. To understand what this looks like, my colleague Nazir Oseiran and I traveled to the Bekaa Valley, one of the driest regions in a country that is simply running out of water.
Historically, the Bekaa Valley is one of the poorest regions in Lebanon. It's a region that's been facing the brunt of the refugee crisis following the Syrian civil war. And it's a region that historically has not received a lot of backing and funding and investment from the government in Lebanon.
For millennia, the Bekaa Valley was an agricultural powerhouse, supplying local regions with delicious cheese, fruits, and vegetables.
It's like the most apple-tasting apple I've ever had.
Bilal Hashemi is a local member of parliament here, who's offered to show us around his cousin's farm.
We have different vegetables, okay, such as cucumber, tomato.
Like all farms around here, they rely on local rivers and a rich groundwater supply. But many of the rivers are now polluted, and the groundwater here is drying up.
So before, if you actually dig 2 meters, you will get water. Now you have to dig more, around 10 meters, 50 meters in order to get water, which is enough.
This is happening for a few reasons. First, warming temperatures due to man-made climate change leads to less snowmelt, which refills the groundwater.
We need snow. It is shrinking and in time and space because of the changing climate.
Second, overexploitation from wells are sucking the groundwater dry. A 2015 study reported that groundwater levels in the Bekaa had dropped by up to 20 meters since 1970, and it estimated that there were at least 60,000 unregulated and unregistered wells using up groundwater across the country.
By and large, we don't know how much we're pumping from wells. We don't know how much we're pumping from rivers. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
But groundwater is only part of the story. To understand Lebanon's water crisis, we need to start in Beirut, at this water pump on the outskirts of the city.
This is water treatment plant serving the suburban area of South Beirut.
This is managed by one of Lebanon's 4 public water utilities. Since the end of Lebanon's civil war in the 90s, they've struggled to stay funded, but they were starting to stabilize until 2019.
Breaking news out of Lebanon right now.
For the 4th straight day, the protests continue.
The demonstrations started, Corona hit, political uncertainty came in.
Lebanon is going through one of the worst economic crises in 150 years. 80% of the population now live under the poverty line. With soaring inflation, the cost of fuel and electricity have skyrocketed, and the water establishments can't pay their bills to keep the pumps or wastewater treatment plants running.
The money they had in the bank, like all citizens in Lebanon, was worthless. And they could not buy any of their consumables, diesel for their generators, spare parts for their pumps.
Lebanon's sectarian political system has, for the most part, been too paralyzed by corruption and competing interests to fix the nation's problems. It's tried and failed 12 times to elect a new president, since the last one left in October last year.
Politics came into this, dirty politics came into this, and we stayed in darkness, and we're still suffering from that.
Here is a pumping station.
Water cuts have become common, sometimes for days at a time.
During the last 3 years, the condition is tragic because the pumping station cannot be maintained.
For now, UNICEF have stepped in to help fix up this water pump to make it more like this one.
We've been repairing water pumping stations and we've been replacing essential equipment and materials, but unfortunately we are not able to meet the needs of the entire country, and in fact our funding has been completely depleted as of last month. Water stations such as this, that is providing water for over 1 million people in Beirut, if this goes down, we actually have no resources to replace it.
We asked the Lebanese government what their plan was to maintain the country's water facilities if funding from NGOs ran out, but did not receive a response in time for this video. Those who can afford it drink bottled water, which has increased in price tenfold since 2019. Some get their water for cooking, cleaning, and washing shipped in by expensive private water trucks. Others are forced to rely on unsafe sources.
Sources where the water quality is extremely poor, where it could be contaminated by the poor management of the sewage and wastewater systems as well.
This is the home of a family of Syrian refugees living just outside Zakhle in the Bekaa Valley. Mohammed, a father of 4, says he can spend up to half the household income, which is about $40 a month, to get enough water for his family. He didn't want to be identified for this interview.
نحن ايام نحرم حالنا كرمال الاولاد، يعني انا بنراقب نحن القانونات اذا قديش ضل فيها.
The family receives financial assistance from the UN and gets food and medications from Salam LADC, a local charity.
نقسم قديش بدنا بالشهر وبنحطهم على جنب، هدول لمي الشرب، فنحن هاي المبلغ اللي عم يروح على المي انا عم يروح من شيء ثاني لتغذية اولاد. فانا بحس حالي ظلمتهم، بس هاي الظروف اللي عايشين فيها.
Mohammed's house is connected to the public water supply, but he says the water only comes about once every 3 days, and they store it in a tank for their cooking, cleaning, and laundry. He says his kids got sick after drinking from the tank.
صار معهم التهاب بالكبد وهالقصص هاي. هلا هي مو من المي، هي من مرة واحدة شربوا من الخزان. من أثر هاي الشرب دخلوا على المشفى، ضلوا شيء أكثر من 10 أيام بالمشفى وبالعناية وعلى فحوصات ودم وما دم وهاي، وصار معهم شحوب وصفران وهالقصص هاي. من وقت هذيك السالفة تقريبا، هاي السالفة من 6 سنوات. من وقت هاي السالفة لحد الآن نحن ما بنشرب إلا من مية المشترى.
هل عم بيكون كل شهر أصعب من اللي مضى؟
هلا يمكن إيه.
Case numbers of waterborne diseases like hepatitis A and dysentery have exploded in recent years, especially in the Bekaa Valley. In October last year, cholera broke out for the first time in Lebanon in over 30 years, with thousands of suspected cases. Close to half of them were children under 15.
Everyone, including us, say, wow, the cholera outbreak was controlled at the beginning of 2023. But the real problem has not been tackled, the lack of proper water and sanitation in the country, affecting Lebanese and refugees.
Around the world, many countries see climate change as the main threat to their supply of water and are acting accordingly, like finding ways to farm with less water or investing in water storage facilities. But in Lebanon, most people we spoke with said the more immediate threat is closer to home. a broken government that let the country's water systems get to this point.
If we want to fix, we want to start with ourselves.
As part of that government, Hushaimi says he's working with other MPs to try to bring safe water to their people with limited capacity.
We are in a crisis. We don't have any money. And even we don't have any taxes being paid to the government. There must be reforms that make this country get back.
Last year, the International Monetary Fund promised $3 billion to fix Lebanon's economy, but only if they bring in reforms. The Lebanese government told us it has started to implement some of the measures of the IMF deal, but could not provide a timeline until they are all met.
The economic crisis plus the political situation played a major hand in reducing electricity availability and water availability to people. If the economic situation miraculously recovers, then we can see an end to this problem.
30 years ago, we used to swim here on that river. It's a real river which has a water which we can actually clean with it, and we can water with it the lands, etc. I hope Lebanon will get back to the previous life, and we can solve all together the problem of water, which will affect everybody, every place.
Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please support our channel by giving us a like and subscribe. Thanks.